Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Most people sleepwalk through their 20s and 30s, making the same financial mistakes over and over again, only to wake up at 39 realizing they've wasted the best wealth-building years of their lives. The difference between someone who retires comfortably and someone who works until they're 70 isn't luck. It's the decisions they made before turning 40. Right now, while your body can still handle stress and your mind is sharp enough to learn new strategies, you have a window of opportunity that closes a little more each day. What you do in this window will determine whether you spend your 50s planning vacations or planning how to make rent. The first move you need to make is understanding that saving alone will never make you wealthy. I know your parents told you to put money in a savings account, and maybe that worked for them when interest rates were 6%. But right now, with inflation eating away at your purchasing power, keeping large amounts of cash in a regular savings account is actually losing you money. Every year, the buying power of that saved dollar shrinks. You need to get your money working for you, not sitting idle while inflation destroys its value. This doesn't mean you shouldn't have an emergency fund. You absolutely should have 3 to 6 months of expenses in an accessible account. But everything beyond that emergency cushion needs to be deployed into assets that actually grow. The second move is getting into the stock market, and I don't care if you think it's scary or complicated. The data is crystal clear on this. Over the past century, the stock market has returned an average of about 10% annually. Nothing else comes close to matching that kind of consistent growth. You don't need to be a financial genius to benefit from this. Index funds that track the overall market give you instant diversification across hundreds or thousands of companies. When you buy an index fund, you're essentially betting on the continued growth of human innovation and productivity. Has that been a bad bet historically? Start with whatever you can afford. Even $50 a month, invested consistently over 20 years with compound returns, turns into something substantial. The key word here is consistently. Market timing is a fool's game. Trying to buy low and sell high sounds great in theory, but study after study shows that even professional fund managers fail at this more often than they succeed. Your strategy should be simple: buy regularly, hold long-term, and ignore the noise. The third move is maximizing your retirement accounts before you do anything else. If your employer offers a 401k with matching contributions, you need to contribute at least enough to get that full match. This is free money. If your company matches 50 cents on the dollar up to 6% of your salary, and you're not contributing that 6%, you're literally leaving money on the table. It's like getting a raise and saying no thank you. Beyond the match, these accounts give you enormous tax advantages. Traditional retirement accounts let you contribute pre-tax dollars, which lowers your taxable income right now. Roth accounts are funded with after-tax dollars, but they grow tax-free, and you pay nothing when you withdraw in retirement. Think about what that means over decades. The difference between paying taxes on your gains and not paying taxes on your gains is massive. Someone who maxes out their retirement accounts from age 25 to 40 will likely have more wealth than someone who starts at 40 and contributes twice as much. The fourth move is educating yourself about tax-advantaged investment vehicles beyond just retirement accounts. Health savings accounts are one of the most underrated wealth-building tools available. If you have a high-deductible health plan, you can contribute to INSA with pre-tax dollars, the money grows tax-free, and you can withdraw it tax-free for qualified medical expenses. But here's what most people don't know. After age 65, you can withdraw from INSA for any reason and just pay regular income tax, exactly like a traditional retirement account, except you got to use it tax-free for medical expenses along the way. Many people treat their SA like a checking account, spending it down each year. That's a mistake. Pay your medical expenses out of pocket if you can afford it, save your receipts, and let that SA grow for decades. You can reimburse yourself for those medical expenses anytime in the future, or just keep the money invested. The fifth move is developing at least one additional income stream before you hit 40. Relying on a single source of income is financial fragility disguised as stability. Your job feels secure until it isn't. Companies downsize, industries change, and personal circumstances shift. Having multiple income streams isn't about working yourself to death. It's about creating options and reducing risk. This could be a side business, freelance work in your area of expertise, rental income from property, dividend income from investments, or digital products that generate passive revenue. The time to build these streams is before you desperately need them. Starting a side business while you still have a steady paycheck lets you experiment, fail, learn, and grow without the pressure of needing immediate results. By the time you're 40, you want at least one of these alternative streams producing meaningful income. Even an extra $1,000 a month changes your financial picture dramatically over time. The sixth move is getting serious about real estate, even if you think you can't afford it. Real estate has created more millionaires than probably any other investment investment vehicle, and there's a reason for that. It combines several wealth-building factors: leverage, appreciation, tax benefits, and inflation hedging. When you buy a property with a mortgage, you're using the bank's money to control an asset. If you put 20% down on a $200,000 property, you control the full asset with only $40,000 of your own money. When that property appreciates 5%, you didn't make 5% on your $40,000 investment. You made $10,000, which is a 25% return on your actual cash invested. That's the power of leverage. Beyond appreciation, rental properties generate monthly cash flow. They also come with substantial tax deductions, including mortgage interest, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, and depreciation. And here's the beautiful part. While you're benefiting from all these advantages, your tenants are literally paying down your mortgage for you, building your equity month after month. If buying property seems impossible, get creative. House hacking, where you buy a multi-unit property, live in one unit, and rent out the others, can dramatically reduce or eliminate your housing costs while building equity. Real estate investment trusts, known as REITs, let you invest in real estate through the stock market with much smaller amounts of capital. The point is to get exposure to real estate in whatever way fits your situation, because by the time you're 40, you want this asset class working for you. The seventh move is aggressively eliminating high-interest debt. Not all debt is created equal. A mortgage at 3% interest is very different from credit card debt at 20% interest. That credit card debt is an emergency. Every month you carry a balance at 20% interest, you're essentially accepting a guaranteed negative 20% return on that money. There's no investment that can reliably beat that, which means paying off high-interest debt is literally your best possible investment. The avalanche method, where you focus on paying off your highest interest debt first while making minimum payments on everything else, is mathematically optimal. Some people prefer the snowball method, paying off the smallest balances first for psychological wins. Either way works as long as you're attacking the debt systematically. The freedom that comes from being debt-free cannot be overstated. When you have no debt payments, your income is truly yours. You can weather financial storms, take calculated risks, and build wealth at an accelerated pace. Entering your 40s without consumer debt is like starting a race while everyone else is running with weights strapped to their ankles. The eighth move is investing in skills that increase your earning power. Your human capital, your ability to generate income, is your most valuable asset, especially in your 20s and 30s. A single promotion, career change, or skill upgrade can increase your income by $10,000, $20,000, or $30,000 per year. That's not a one-time gain. That's an annual increase that compounds throughout your career. Investing $5,000 in education, certifications, or skill development that leads to a $20,000 salary increase pays for itself in 3 months. For the rest of your career, you're benefiting from that investment. This doesn't necessarily mean going back to school for an expensive degree. It could mean learning high-demand technical skills, improving your negotiation abilities, building expertise in emerging fields, or developing communication and leadership skills that qualify you for management positions. The people who earn the most aren't always the smartest or the hardest working. They're often the ones who deliberately cultivated valuable skills that are in high demand. Before 40, you still have enough career runway for these investments to pay massive dividends. The ninth move is building your financial intelligence. Most people spend more time planning a vacation than planning their financial future, and then they wonder why they're stressed about money. Financial literacy isn't taught in most schools, which means you have to take responsibility for educating yourself. Understanding concepts like compound interest, asset allocation, tax efficiency, risk management, and economic cycles isn't optional for wealth building. It's fundamental. Read books written by people who have actually built wealth, not just people who talk about building wealth. Learn how successful investors think about risk and opportunity. Understand the difference between trading and investing, between speculation and calculated risk-taking. Follow economic news not to panic about market movements, but to understand the broader forces shaping investment opportunities. The knowledge you build before 40 becomes the foundation for decades of better financial decisions. Every percentage point of better returns, every tax strategy you implement, every fee you avoid by understanding your options compounds over time into significant wealth differences. Beyond these specific moves, there's a mindset shift that has to happen. Most people approach their finances reactively. They make decisions based on immediate needs and wants without considering long-term consequences. Wealthy people think differently. They think in terms of opportunity cost. Every dollar spent on something today is also a dollar not invested in future growth. That doesn't mean living like a monk and never enjoying your money. It means being intentional. It means asking whether this purchase moves you toward your goals or away from them. A $30 subscription service doesn't sound like much, But over 20 years at 10% returns, that's over $22,000. You might decide the subscription is worth it. That's fine. But make it a conscious decision, not a mindless one. The compound effect works both ways. Small positive financial decisions compound into wealth. Small negative financial decisions compound into struggle. Starting your retirement contributions 5 years earlier doesn't just give you 5 more years of contributions. It gives you 5 more years of compound growth on every dollar you invested, which can easily double or triple the final result. Waiting until your 40s to get serious about investing doesn't mean you're 5 years behind. It means you're decades behind in terms of compound growth. Your relationship with risk also needs to mature before 40. When you're young, you can afford to take bigger risks because you have time to recover from mistakes. As you approach 40 and beyond, your risk tolerance should generally decrease because your recovery window shrinks. This means your 30s are actually the sweet spot for calculated risk-taking. You have enough experience to make informed decisions, but enough time to recover if things don't work out. This is when you should be most aggressive with growth investments, most willing to bet on yourself with entrepreneurial ventures, most open to strategic career moves that might involve short-term uncertainty for long-term gain. Protection becomes increasingly important as you build wealth. Insurance isn't exciting, but it's essential. Adequate health insurance protects you from medical bankruptcy. Disability insurance protects your income if you can't work. Life insurance protects your dependents if something happens to you. Umbrella liability insurance protects your assets from lawsuits. These aren't unnecessary expenses. They're the foundation that lets you take appropriate risks without gambling your family's security. Building wealth without protection is like building a house without a foundation. Eventually, something shifts and the whole thing collapses. Your peer group influences your financial behavior more than you probably realize. If everyone around you leases new cars, takes expensive vacations they can't afford, and lives paycheck to paycheck despite good incomes, you'll feel pressure to do the same. If your friends are investing, building businesses, and having conversations about wealth-building strategies, you'll naturally move in that direction. This isn't about abandoning your friends. It's about being aware of social influence and potentially expanding your circle to include people who have the financial life you want. Find mentors who are where you want to be. Their normal becomes your normal. Automation is your secret weapon for consistency. Humans are terrible at consistently doing things that require discipline, even when we know they're good for us. That's why automatic contributions to investment accounts work so well. The money moves before you have a chance to spend it, before you can rationalize why this month is different. Set up automatic transfers from checking to savings and investment accounts right after your paycheck hits. Automate your retirement contributions. Automate your debt payments. Remove the decision-making from activities that should happen regardless of how you feel on any given day. The final insight is this: building wealth before 40 isn't about depriving yourself of enjoyment today for some distant future. It's about creating freedom. Freedom to choose work you love rather than work you need. Freedom to handle emergencies without panic. Freedom to help your family when they need it. Freedom to pursue opportunities when they arise. Freedom to retire when you want to, not when you're physically unable to work anymore. Every financial decision you make is really a decision about freedom. The compound effect of smart trading moves made before 40 doesn't just create wealth. It creates options, security, and the ability to live life on your terms. That's worth far more than any number in a bank account.